All right, we'll call this board education meeting to order. Our first item is to approve the agenda. Any changes or corrections? I need a motion.
I move we approve the agenda.
I have a motion, second.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, next item would be swearing new board members. Got your swearing book out?
Right here.
Okay,
Now,
guess we
you want
can,
me to
have
stand
you guys
here?
stand up there and do one at a time, or all three of you at the same time, or however you want to do it.
once.
All three at once.
Manageable. And I'll move in case you want a picture. Each want to raise your right hand, repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Kansas,
of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of board member,
the duties of board member,
so help me God.
so help me God.
That's it.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard. Okay, next item up, we'll need to elect a board president. Have any nominations for board president?
I move we elect Jeff Canizzo as president for the next year.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. Any questions?
I just think it'd be good to have, with such an inexperienced board, to have somebody in the president role that's done it before and can really guide us in this next year.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
What do you want, is any additional nominations?
Any additional nominations?
Yes, I move to nominate Tracy Clays
Okay,
as board president.
Second.
okay, any other nominations? Okay, all those in favor of Jeff Nizzo?
But you might, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
probably need a
Separate.
motion that nomination cease.
Cease, okay. Need a motion to nomination cease?
I move nomination cease.
Second. All right, now. we
Vote on
can-
that.
We can vote on that, all those in
Actually, there's
favor?
the 4-H person, but I guess.
Or you just probably
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
Okay, all those in favor, nomination cease. 7-0, okay. All right, now we'll vote on the first person. All those in favor of Jeff Canizzo being board president? 3, those opposed? 4, okay. All those in favor of Tracy Clays being board president? 4, those opposed? 3. Okay, Tracy's the new board president. I'll move out of here.
Look forward to being on the board, all newest stuff, is that, I know that, at times we always see the same, but when we get done, being away, everybody's opinion respected, and we'll always do what's best for the kids, so. That is sure that, so, all right, so with that, we'll start we have to do the election of the, vice president.
I nominate Jeff Canizzo for vice president of the school board.
Second. First, second, any other nomination?
I move to make nominate Jason Berkston as vice president.
Got the nomination for Jason. Any other
There's a second on that.
Oh, a second? No second. Any other nominations? I move nomination cease.
Second?
Second. All those in favor of nomination cease? Passes 7-0. First is the, vote for Jeff, Canizzo as vice president. All those in favor? All those opposed? So 43 against. And then, all those, in favor of Jason being vice president? 4. All those opposed? 3. So Jason is vice president, 43. With that, then we'll move to the budget hearing.
Yep.
So the budget hearing now is that, you want to explain?
Yeah. So we have to publish our legal maximum good fund every year. And part of that starts with the budgeting software in July. And we have to estimate the number of children that qualify for free lunches and estimate the percent of each building and by the district will qualify. And that sets our legal, part of what sets our legal max for general fund. And so we had an abnormally high amount of students qualify for free lunch. And our high density at risk is higher than it's ever been. As I go up in memory, I think last year we qualified for about 11 FTE-ish. And it's probably going to be around 28 this year or so. And so that in order to get the authority to collect that aid for those qualifications, we need to increase our legal max. And we did get our preliminary legal max from KSD, actually the Friday that we sent our publication to the paper. And we're within about, forget exact, Andrea, about $10,000. So we're still super close, but you know, we've already published, so worst case scenario, we have to get it higher. We can do it later in the spring. That's the reason why, if we want to be able to collect the aid, then we need to recover.
So if there anybody has any comments, I just want to make sure everybody understands, this does not cost the taxpayer any more money. If we don't do this, we're returning free state aid money from the state. So it's a good thing that we're doing this. And like I say, if the numbers come back the way they do, well, as long as we can get free money without costing taxpayers more money, we'll do it again if we have to. So.
You don't have to leave it up. I mean, if there's no comment from the public, then you close it.
Open to public. Well, we'll close that hearing. We'll move on
Then we would just need a motion to approve that.
to the republic.
Approve the new general fund legal max or the amended budget. And there's some, you can use that wording if you want in there, but
I move to adopt the 2023-24 budget amendment as published on 12/19/2023.
Second. All those in favor? That's a 7-0. We already did.
he did the agenda for it.
The receiving communications. Anyone? No, let's break initiative. Yes, and everybody who's watching, appreciate you taking an interest in the school board and everybody here tonight, especially with the weather. So it's always good, more people that are involved and come out and see these, the better it is for everybody in the community to know. So appreciate you all showing up tonight and those watching on the video. So recognition of administration.
He didn't come. He's not the type that likes recognition. We did invite him, but you know, I assume he we'll say it's the weather, but I know Mr. Young, he just didn't. But it's a very well deserved honor, and his staff nominated him for this award, just a wide award, so. It's a pretty big honor, and we're pretty proud of him for the work that he does to support music ed, so.
Very good. For those, it's for, honor administrator for the North Central Kansas Music Educators Association, so, very good. Next, we go to citizens open forum.
There's no.
Nobody there. Okay. Move on. Positive board comments.
I've got a few.
Okay.
I want to commend everyone that was involved with the singing Christmas tree performance. That was, goosebump worthy. It was amazing. You did an excellent job. I want to commend specifically Lisa last, the email that we got at the tips for winter break. It addressed the mental health of students, staff, and parents. And then we also got an email as parents, transitioning back to school that gave some guidelines, some suggestions on how to make that transition back and getting kids back in the routine before the day they're supposed to be at school. So I hope those are really well done. I had the honor of sitting in on the CCCHS December grads presentations. All of our grads had to present to a panel as part of their graduation process, and they talked about their internship experiences. One of the students specifically talked about how the internship experience really was pivotal in him being able to graduate, because otherwise there was a lot of things working against him. So it was wonderful to see the success of those students, and I commend those that did graduate in December. And then lastly, I want to shout out to admin and transportation team. I'm sure you guys were up at 4 a.m. this morning, traveling the roads and traveling the roads throughout the day, and then doing the best you can to keep all of us safe. And we appreciate your time and your effort.
I'm on neither one of them, but I was up at 5.
You can have it if you want.
I did text you and said it was thundering and lightning in Wakefield, and you said, yeah, it's kind of scary.
When we had orientation with Brett, I didn't realize he explained that whole process, and very, very intense and very well thought out. So my question is, on the singing Christmas tree, is that the same tree that's been there since I was in school?
It's been new since 17.
Okay, I was wondering, I'm like,
Didn't you get roped in the building?
I was on that
It's a little bit stronger than.
1 year. Yeah. This year's, oh, it's.
Or you just gotta make sure it's not up on OSHA.
That's President. Great to hear.
One thing I'd also like to comment too is on Superintendent Nelson and the staff. Thank you very much for the orientation that and the generous support that you've given us going forward anyway into the new year as a new board member. So your wisdom and knowledge was excellent. Appreciate that.
Thanks for spending the time. I know it's
Thank you.
time for it. So appreciate it.
Very helpful. Very helpful. Just there, anything else? Word comments?
I'd like to add one. I'd like to add to Dave's comment also. You have been instrumental in guiding us, teaching us, imparting knowledge to us, and I am very gracious to you for that, and I thank you. I pray give us some grace also, and there's a lot to learn, and we appreciate it and value it. Thank you.
Anything else? Donna, can you go to the presentation?
Yeah,
And they're ready.
we have some guests that are gonna join us because of the weather. They were gonna be in person, but they're coming from Kansas City area, so we'll attempt our technology. And we do have Kathy and August August doesn't have a choice, but Kathy is with us tonight too, just because that's their world, is the benefit side of our district, and they do a great job managing that and supporting our employees and taking care of that. Kansas City area, so we'll attend our technology. And we do have Kathy and August with August. But Kathy, gonna repeat to?
There we go.
Little delay.
Okay.
Nick, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yeah, perfect. We can't see you, but we can hear you. There you are.
Can you hear us okay?
Oh, can we turn the volume on ours?
Well, Nick, if you wouldn't mind, just introduce yourselves real quick and then we'll get going.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to meet with you all tonight. Sorry we couldn't make it in person. The roads prevented us from doing that, but I'm Nick White with IMA, and this is Terry Adder. She's our senior team lead benefits consultant in our education practice. And then Cody Purdy, who is in he's our national education leader within IMA.
All right, thanks for being here, guys. So Kathy and August we're gonna all three they have a lot more knowledge base in this. Kathy's been doing benefits for a long time, and so she's super familiar with the ins and outs. And so as section 125 board approved benefits, so each year you guys approve a list of our vendors and products within our section 125 plan. And then our employees have the opportunity to sign up for those benefits. It's kind of that supplementary benefits. And so we've been with American Fidelity for some time, and the last several years we've been at the board table. We've talked about it, whether it be health insurance or supplementary benefits, and kind of looking at just making sure we're being competitive, getting the best prices, and offering the best products for our employees is really what it comes down to on the supplemental benefit side. And so they don't cost the district any money. And we don't sell anything to our people. They are just simply there and available for our employees to voluntarily sign up for. So these products are often considered supplemental to our coverage to offset medical insurance. You got, and Kathy, we can go down the list, but you have cancer, life, health. What are some of the other big ones? Disability, cancer, lots of different.
Critical care and indemnity for hospitalization. Variety of that.
And so we have been solely with American Fidelity for how long, Kathy? Ballpark?
I'd say well over 25, 30. I'm guessing.
For a long time, yeah. So we've been doing a lot of research, and we know that we need a partner to help us, that's their arena and that's their ballpark. And IMA for the last 3 or 4 years, we've been in conversations, not only on the supplemental benefit side, but also investigating and researching some potential options, not that we have to make a change, but potential options on the benefit side. And so kind of our goals in the last few years have been to review our benefits and our providers that we make available to our employees to make sure we're offering the best options for the premium costs. We want to continue to do better on educating our employees to make sure they utilize and understand the products that are available to them. Many of the products in this arena, whether it be supplemental or health insurance, have seen some pretty significant premium increases in the last few years. And we know that every dollar counts for our people. And so we just want to make sure that we're offering the best products to our employees. We've had, our current representative has had some significant turnover in employees and representatives, and we've encountered some challenges, and we've heard from our employees some things that they would like to see different and change. And so kind of trying to listen to that. We know that whether it be health insurance or supplemental, that's not our arena. It's not where we live and work. And so we need a partner, some experts like IMA that do this nationally for education and districts across our country that can help us be competitive, to have the relationships with the major healthcare providers or the supplemental providers have access to those markets and could go out and actively seek competitive pricing for us in the national market so that we're maximizing those dollars for our people. Another goal has been to streamline our transition to enrollment. And so we've kind of been doing enrollment to benefits the same way for a really long time. And the days of sitting down one-on-one for 20 minutes with somebody, kind of at times, I think our employees feel like something's being sold to them. They turn it over to their hands a little bit more, put them more into control of it in an environment where they don't feel like they're being sold something, that they can make a choice. And so IMA has what's the best term for that system, Nick? I can't remember what you called it, where they log into one place and they can see everything.
Yeah, we can do a benefit admin system through one option is Navigator that we could utilize.
Cool. So it's a one-stop shop where an employee can get a login, they can log into the system, they can see all the benefits that are available to them and choose on their own what they want or what they don't want. As always, Kathy is wonderful about, reaching out, setting up one-on-ones. If somebody needs information or needs to be walked through, IMA will have people available if we need questions. That education has really been impressive of what they've done with some other districts of being on site and doing a presentation for our staff. But and we also want to be able to control the products that we do offer a little bit more and down the road, not just saying, okay, we can only buy or offer products from this one company. IMA they're open to the entire market, and so they can, select and choose and help us make sure we're offering the best products at the best prices. And so that's kind of the benefit side. So I'll pause there. We're not asking for any action tonight. We're still investigating. We're still researching. We just wanted to kind of, as you know, existing board members, we've been talking about ways in which we can competitively make sure we're getting the right prices. And the benefit side is going to be a little bit easier. The health insurance side's a little bit more difficult. So we've been with, I call it the pool, but it's it's a trust that we've been with. I think there's 40 some odd districts that participate throughout the state. We're not the largest, but one of the larger districts. And so IMA's done some work in the background researching prices and doing some benchmarking on where our premiums compared to other districts our size. And we, we do feel like we could be more competitive in our premium prices and offer some better products. The tricky part is once you're in the pool, they make it really hard to get out of the pool. So for example, if we want out, we have to tell them by February 1st. And we don't even have our renewal premium prices until May. So we have to say whether we're in and out before we even know what it's going to cost. And that's part of being in the pool. But if we were to down the road choose a broker such as IMA, they could competitively bid the open market for our health insurance, and they could put all of that on the table and we could make a choice. We don't have to sign up to something before we know what it would cost. They could offer us some options. And the scare's always been, well, if you bail from the pool, you're out for 3 years. And so if you leave the pool and then you hire a broker to go to the open market for you, the broker doesn't cost us anything. They build that into the premium prices. But, the scary part is for me is, well, what happens if we leave the pool and we go out to the open market and the pricing isn't better? And the challenge there is the pool doesn't give us access to our data. So they will not give us access to how much our employees are costing the program. And, right or wrong, I'm sure there's strategy there on their end for doing that. And I'm not here to just say the pool is absolutely the worst thing, but right now we're locked. We don't have a way to go out and competitively bid the open market to see if we can get a better price and a better product for our people. And so IMA behind the scenes has, with their network of national organizations, has come up with some backup options for us. If down the road, we would say, hey, we want, to leave the pool, that's what we would have to say, we want to leave. And then we would, allow IMA to go to the market for us. So, they can go and, competitively bid, get a hold of our data. And they have several different options. I assume February 1st is a tight timeline, so I assume we probably want to maybe kick it another year unless the crew, you guys want to move faster. But our kind of plan was to look at the benefits first and have IMA potentially put some options in front of us. It doesn't mean we have to take them, but at least take a look at some benefit packages or options. And, make sure, is it a better price? Is it a better product? Is the online piece, what's gonna be best for our people? Those kind of things. And so, they're gonna keep doing some research and bringing some data with us that we can share with you guys. But potentially, if you guys are kind of giving us the nod in the right direction, we'll continue to kind of research and investigate over the next month, and then maybe bring Nick and his crew back in February and look at the benefits side. But just to be clear, if we want to look at health insurance, if we want to do it for next year, it would have to be February 1st. Or we can do just benefits, wait on health insurance, and do that and look at that in a year. So let me make sure I hit all my points here. Kathy, August, what am I missing? Anything?
So you say they've done this with other, or in the state of Kansas?
Yeah, Nick, the question was, do you work with other districts in Kansas?
Yes, we do. Yeah,
They
just
make
go.
the same trip from the pool to lead it.
So I'll let Cody address that one.
I was just wondering how many of them, were in the pool and left it, how that result ended for them.
I don't know if we can hear you, Cody.
Okay.
I think Cody's having a issue there. There, did you get it now?
Now it just said mute.
How much did ours go up last year? Wasn't quite a bit, like 400,000? Is that?
That was, it went from 635 to 685 per person. And so if you times that times 170 some odd people, I forget the percent. Do you remember the percent it went up last year?
Well.
Wasn't it around 7? Well, our total cost, wasn't it around the average, like 7.5%? That's what my memory serves
But
as.
the previous year, it was 0.
About
Yeah.
8%.
So, over a 2-year average, 3.5%.
Have we ever gone out of the pool before? In your time?
We got in the slide, we've been with them for 20 plus.
Yeah,
Years.
it's been a while.
The one thing we did notice was, if you just look at base employee only. Yes, we've seen fluctuation in the premium, but we also see that the deductible, I just went on base deductible, not out of pocket max, but one of our strategies was to go ahead and increase the deductible to keep our premiums low. So.
If you go down on that one slide, as in 13-14, for 511, but we had $1,000 deductible compared to 685 with a $2,500 deductible.
Oh, more than double, so.
Are you on, Cody?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sorry
So
about
repeat your
that.
question.
So,
I
because
I
my
did hear
question
the
is,
question.
very
So not specific to the Green Bush pool of carving out, but we do have extensive experience with various pools structured the same way. We operate and run a pool, so we're very familiar with how to structure and manage the risk and population and rate within that. And we've also had experience underwriting against and carving clients out of pools. Typically, it is when it's a larger client within that pool. A lot of times what's happening is the bigger clients are subsidizing the experience of the smaller clients in there. There is some amount of blind to it, as Brett did a great job of outlining, but we have predictive analytics tools and whatever extent of data we can get. Our goal in this scenario would be to bring options that's kind of an eyes wide open, and it allows you to make an informed decision before being forced to carve out of that pool, and doing it in a way in which you don't get disqualified from participation in the pool either. And so really it's situation by situation dependent. So one group's experience isn't going to be the same as another, but that's what our experience is for, is to come and help you guys work through that.
So Brett, our pool, are we in the top 5% size wise?
Yeah,
Probably. We're the one of the bigger districts.
I'd say that's fair.
So as us being in the top 5%, we're helping fund the bottom, is what he was just saying, like there, so. I'm not so sure we should attack the health insurance with the short turnaround here, but I would be willing to look at the other and then maybe work on the health insurance over the next 9 or 10 months.
they would start putting together proposals for us to compare.
On the health insurance
On the
part,
health
but I think on the other part, the benefit part,
Oh, we could start on the
benefits, I think, so that maybe we can throw some of that in there on negotiations coming up,
We could,
and maybe that's not the way to look at it, but the health insurance, I think with the February 1 deadline to get out
it's quick.
pretty quick. As far as that goes, so.
And, the biggest change over the last few months has been, IMA doing their due diligence on the health side to make sure that if we would ever choose to leave, that we have several backup options available that aren't gonna drastically change the health insurance that's available to our employees. And that has been the challenge over the last few years, is making sure that we have a backup plan. But I don't disagree that, keep talking about health insurance as we go. There is a chance that the pool gets wind, they could say.
Goodbye.
They could, but IMA has some backup options
Yeah.
ready and available for us now. But on the benefit side, it's really, what that would look like is IMA would say, all right, we know the demographics of your district. We have, your age population, your size, number of employees, some other data pieces, and we can go out and shop the market. And they've done some preliminary stuff on our behalf just to see how competitive we would be, and have several different potential options to look at to offer benefits to our employees. And there's a lot of details, 403B options play in there, how we manage HSA and FSA dollars for our employees. There's a lot of, it's pretty complex, but, if you guys are on board with that benefits, and if everyone's kind of in line with Jeff, then.
So let me back up here. I mean, you say they have health insurance options available now,
For us to look at.
or are they working?
I'll let one of you guys elaborate. I don't want to overspeak.
Well, because, let me back up. I mean, if they have something that's available for us to look at and it's comparable, and that's the direction we think we need to go, we got 3 weeks to say we're out.
Nick, do you want to talk about what's?
Sure.
I forget the name.
Yeah, I'd be happy, yeah. Brett, I'd be happy to talk on that. So we did do some preliminary, basically behind the scenes, worst case scenario. It's called our ICRA option. So it's individual healthcare arrangements that we went out to the market to see what we could offer. Basically, it would be a defined contribution amount the district would pay into a benefit amount that the employees would have. And they would get to go out basically like a marketplace plan and go out and choose their benefits. Basically, what we came up with is comparably with the network, we could keep you guys to where you currently are at. Also, there could be some buy-up options for employees. But like I said, this is worst case scenario because you guys are in a pool. We couldn't go out directly to the marketplace. So we just did an ICRA option to show you guys, hey, there is feasibility here. We can offer you a lot larger picture as soon as you guys exit the pool. We can go out to all the major markets, but the ICRA option was definitely the worst case scenario, but we did present options to Brett and team that we did show them that, hey, we can still save you money even in worst case scenarios with better plan options.
And I think if we want to go deeper than that, we're probably going to get into some confidential employee information. And so if you guys want to go deeper, I would recommend probably an executive session because we're going to get awful close to personally identifiable data.
Right.
So just throwing it out there. And I'm kind of reading between the lines of seeing you very small on a screen up there, guys. But if you guys do want to go deeper, I think we probably.
Okay, with that said, we wait on the health insurance. So we have some months to, if we need to go in executive session, we can talk about it instead of doing it tonight. And we work on the benefit part of it. And over the next 9-10 months, we figure out if we want to do the health insurance. Come January next year, if we want to get out, we get out.
And that's kind of where we were leaning when we started the evening, so.
I mean, yeah, because then that'll give us some time to talk about it, and if we have to identify somebody or some, to understand the picture, then we have time to do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
that's my opinion.
and I think that's fine. I mean, that's kind of where we landed at coming in tonight, so.
Well, and the only thing I would mention is we are not on a time frame with what I would call the ancillary or the supplemental. We are not under an agreement to where we have to stay with any of those until a certain date. Our health insurance plan year is from October 1 through September 30. And so just something else, we're not bound. We can make some changes on the ancillary products and at any time.
Good, thanks, guys.
Which if we got that together in time for negotiations and not knowing what's gonna happen until probably June, we've got some time to discuss it, put it on the table. See what they come up with. Cause that you shouldn't have to identify anybody on for the 125. So. Okay.
And Kathy, you might be able to answer this question on this part. Currently, right now, on the coverage that we offer, do they have like a incentive type program to where if an employee opts out of the insurance, then we provide X amount of dollars per month?
We have not done any cash in lieu of. The only thing we did pick up, and we're going back to health insurance now.
Yeah.
None of these other products, but on health insurance, we did give the incentive that because obviously if we have the high deductible plan, it's cheaper. And so we have allowed employees who are willing, it only applies to those that are employee only. But we will go ahead and contribute the difference into an HSA, a health savings.
Okay.
And so that does, I say no cash in lieu of, but that also gives our employees the opportunity to have cash available because they don't have that office visit for $35. They have some cash in their health savings to pay for the $100 office visit. That's really the only cash in lieu of,
Okay,
per se.
all right, thank you.
And the 685 that you see on there with the 25, that's a single premium. So, you know, if you take it, it's paid in full as a single. So.
Is it a law, cash in lieu of, or is it a local policy?
I don't know.
Trying to remember. You know, Kathy?
Well, I think that there are, it's kind of like PTO. I think that there are some companies or institutions that will just say, you have X amount of dollars that you can spend on benefits and choose how. I don't know if I'd call it a policy.
But I don't think we can pay it back in salary.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I think-
it would have to be on
A benefit. of-
benefit, yes. I've never seen that.
Well, we can keep working on benefits and talk about it next month.
Yeah, I'm on board pursuing that. Also, everybody else, if else have any questions? No, I do. I think we need to look at the health insurance stuff. So, and I assume the staff, that's what they want to do.
So if we talked a lot about if we ever moved in the direction of considering choosing a different health insurance, that we would get a committee together or an advisory committee made up of staff to have them participate in it. Is that fair, Kathy?
Gives us time to do that, rather than February 1st, so. But, yeah, the other benefits, I think we should move forward with checking those out.
Anything else for these guys?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Well, appreciate
you.
the time.
Next is the, policy updates.
Yeah, so we have some policy updates it's usually in, 2 times a year, KSB reviews all our policies. School district policies and recommends edits to those or additions or deletions. And so we've always historically, as a board, done the first presentation of any policy updates is just a presentation, no action, can be discussed. If you guys have questions, we can go research them and come back the next month. But typically, we always wait 30 days until the next board meeting, and then we review or approve the policy updates recommended by KSB. You'll notice Linda had a great question. She noticed there's some blanks in there, and when there's a blank in there, I think it's on the free and reduced lunch policy. That means locally we set that number. And so in the free, or in the lunch, EE, thank you. We get to locally, we set where the negative balance max is. And KSB's put 2 policies for you to consider on that. The biggest difference in those on the EE, option 1 and option 2 is historically in our current policy, it's $20, and once a student gets to $20, and that wouldn't be for your free, your free qualifying kids. They don't pay fees. That's reimbursed. But if it's a free qualifying student and they hit the $20 mark, that's been what's been in our policy. I don't know how long, since I've been here, probably a while. And then if they hit the $20, our policy currently reads, and this is hard to say out loud because it drives me crazy, but they get a cheese sandwich until they pay their debt. We've rarely instituted that. And there's a few reasons, because Chartwell's is bound to serve a reimbursable meal, which means it has to meet nutrition guidelines. And so they can't just serve a cheese sandwich because it's not a reimbursable meal. And so it has, your veggie, your grain, it has to have all of that. And so, we don't necessarily do that. I will say, I think we ended the year last year with about $5,000 in student lunch debt. We had Farm Bureau write a grant, and they provided, I think, $2,500, and then we had another big donation from another individual and some others, and so we put together with our admin team a strategy to help our families that needed help, and then there were several different steps involved, and we were able to help take care of that and help offset that for our families. I've been dealing with this my whole time, and educational administration, and it's a hard thing to deal with because one of their kids and their lunch account isn't their fault.
Right.
There's not really an easy answer, but as it relates to this policy, it really is, what do we want to set the debt price at? Do we want to keep it at $20? And then option one or option two, and the biggest difference is, it doesn't say cheese sandwich, it just says a reimbursable meal. And so, and we're doing that anyways because we have to serve a reimbursable meal. But, or to be reimbursed, it has to be, yes, is that
I
right?
mean, yes, because the minimum, we sandwich, but we would not amend the agreement.
We would
And
be-
we pay Chartwell the same price, no matter whether they're serving a cheese sandwich or the regular one.
So, that's a big one in the policy. Other than that, I didn't feel like there was anything like really new or drastically different or anything that would change practices, but we're happy to, if you have some questions, we can dig into them and bring them back next month.
On the meals, what is one day of meals? Like if they would eat breakfast and lunch, well, how much is that?
I don't have that in front of me, but we can bring that back next month for you.
Because my thing would be is maybe we should go 10 days. I would imagine $20 isn't very much.
$20 would not cover a week, right?
Right.
But you can't do all cart or anything like that.
Well, I agree
out of
with that.
No, out of that.
Okay.
That's not included. If a kid comes in there and gets all cart and they're at their $20, they've got to pay out of pocket or they don't get it.
Right.
There's the prices.
So there's your prices up there.
Keep in mind that your 3 kids get a meal. These are only the people that are in the reduced full pay category.
Right.
Full pay or reduced, so.
So
I was just thinking a full week. It should be a thing where at least you give them a week. I don't know if that's right or not.
So you know, like they're K-5, they're gonna spend what, $4, $5.05 a day if they eat breakfast and lunch.
Basically 25
So
bucks.
$25 instead of 20.
And currently, do you have each elementary, middle school, and high school the same $20?
That's what our.
All students are at the 20.
That's all there.
They do split it out in the options.
Yeah.
If you thought that was.
I mean, the first day is a week would be fair, for a week, whatever that costs for a week. But my second thing is, you know, we're here for kids. I'll be honest, I could not believe when I read the one thing of an alternative meal. You know, I mean, you care about kids, you gotta feed them. I know it's a tough deal within the bills, but you gotta feed them, you know, and so I'm glad that it says it has to be a reimbursable meal for us to get reimbursed, so I don't think that should even be in the policy or anything that's not a reimbursable meal, in my opinion, you know. Since a sack lunch with a cheese sandwich or a deli sandwich and a piece of fruit in it, saying, here, you gotta pay your bill. I mean, that's,
What do you do 3 months later when they still haven't paid their bill?
that's the.
We have some kids with $200-300.
Yeah, yeah,
From the first semester.
yeah. So that would be like, what has been the policy then when it gets to a certain point?
We continue to contact the family, and if eventually that would follow them into graduation, they're not allowed to graduate at that.
Right.
That's really the only.
And we can,
Unless you get somebody to donate money at the end of the year.
I would say every year we have somebody, 1 or 2, we were blessed by Farm Bureau last year, but I would say 1, 2, 3. Just patrons have made donations every year and we use it to.
and we can't pay the debt out of food service.
Right.
It has to come from somewhere.
there is a.
So
thing
these
that
are
USD
kids-
Has out there that you have to have a debt mitigation policy.
You have to. I read
These are full pay or reduced.
Yeah.
So any kid that gets a free meal, that's not included.
Right, but it does include reduced meals?
Correct, they will incur charge 30 and 40 cents.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know, a reduced meal would be $1 a day.
Yeah.
So if you get a reduced meal, that's a month of school.
Yep.
So if a student receives an alternate meal consisting of a peanut butter or deli meat sandwich, fruit, vegetable, and milk, are parents billed for those?
That's something you have to decide in the policy. So we are paying Chartwell the same money regardless whether they're getting a regular meal or that meal. And then are you also now charging the family for that? The alternate meal, as you know, if they're getting a regular meal, you still charge them. If they get the alternate meal, you don't. I mean,
Chartwell's charges us the same,
Correct.
whether it's an alter, so.
They go by numbers.
Yeah.
If it's an alternate meal or a regular meal, they're
It doesn't
charged.
matter if it's a hot dog or steak, we're paying the same amount of money.
I don't know that an alternate meal makes much sense, though, really, to put that in there.
It may be some incentive to pay though. I mean, you have to have some incentive.
Somewhat, but it
Yes.
passes the shame onto the child who
No, I
doesn't have any control over the parents paying the bill.
I
I
went
do
to my
like
school,
the-
300 bills, the food was important to me, and I weighed 300 pounds, so.
Well, I do like a full week, having whatever we have set is that the parents have a full week to actually read their emails and notice the notices and get it paid.
Or don't you get a phone call, a text message and email
You do,
every day?
still a full week to be
5
sufficient.
days in a row.
Maybe
Maybe you're waiting for that
Susan
Friday
puts it in
paycheck.
maybe some just call it a couple other districts and just how they can, you know, if somebody just refuses.
We have every district I've been in,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it's been on all the lists. It's, you know, you, like say you gotta, feed kids and they don't pay and you're still feeding them to some, they just don't pay. And that's why we ended the year, or close to the end of the year, we were like, I think it was around 5,000, if I remember, right, and student lunch debt.
Personally, I'm surprised it wasn't higher than that, whether it's all, you know, I mean, for how many kids we're feeding and.
The thing to point out, that I just have to interject, like the $20 thing where you're talking about how much for this, all the cart will blow that up very quickly. Like, you could say, oh, we're gonna give a week's worth of meals, and they can go in and they can go to that dollar amount.
Yeah.
Just on the cart charges in 2 days.
Maybe in 2 days, yeah.
So it's not, you
And
know,
that's their decision and.
Well, some kids, they might get the meal, all cart and everything, they might spend $10, $12 a day.
Right.
And then mom and dad are really screaming, why put $50 in your account? And they're already out. Well, yeah, maybe tell them not to.
Maybe it's not a high school right now, and middle school maybe just as good people did.
If it is served or offered, or do parents have the option to block that? My
Well,
child can't get
once
all
it-
card.
I
They
think
can
that
tell
would
their child.
be, that'd be
But
very,
there's
very
nothing in the
difficult for
system.
the person doing the power school transactions to monitor. But once they do hit the currently $20 deal, if the person sees you're in the whole $20, you're not getting any on card today.
Okay,
I mean, that's how it is
okay,
now.
that's.
So she's saying if you raise this limit to a weekly amount, then they could then rack it up to that with a la carte. So,
You can look at the lunch transaction and tell if it's a meal or if it's à la carte,
Okay,
because it says that. And so, I mean, we've made phone calls to families and said, hey, you're whatever, and we look it up and it's à la carte, and the parent says, I'm fully aware, and my kid's on the hook for that, not me, because I told them to stay out of there. So it does show which one it is.
I have another question. Do parents receive a notice when it's reached the $20? Or do you get a warning that it's
As soon as it's negative.
as soon as it's?
I had 50 cents negative for a milk, and I was getting text, phone calls, and emails.
I think that's good.
But those people that are hundreds of dollars in the hole, I mean, there is, the secretaries, the principals are reaching out. I've sent letters to the families letting them know that they can, if they haven't already, that they can apply for free reduced meals. Sometimes they just do not respond, or sometimes there are families that do apply and they're $40 over the limit.
It's catch-22.
That's really good.
You wanna feed kids, but you don't wanna,
Same time.
you wanna have that responsibility.
Exactly, no question. No question.
the technical law, it's written into there that, if the negative debt is supposed to be paid, if you don't, it goes back to the local general fund budget, which is, you know, levy, so, I mean, the money has to come from somewhere because it's a federal program that's regulated like that. The money has to come back to the negative debt person.
We, unfortunately, a year ago, because of some good people in the community. Take care of it. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other comments? Anything we want Brad or staff to check out on the policies?
It's on page 20. I don't really like that we're taking he and she out.
In,
Page
in
20
the
towards the
current,
top.
with changes, page 20, or what?
Yeah. It said shall provide to the student and the student's parent is taking his or her. Oh, I guess in my opinion, it's a slippery slope to start doing.
We could ask KSB and bring it back next month. The reason why, I don't know why they did that. But we could add.
It's kind of like the one that takes out military and puts in uniforms.
Well, that was a specific reason though, like this, because they extended it, that benefit to people that were not military technically, but were in a uniform role, I forget.
Like police, firefighters, some of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I did wonder that too, but
Do we not have one for pregnant people before?
And it's new there, so no.
Or just?
Anything else? Good. So we'll vote on those next month? Yeah. Very good. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. First off,
I'm going to approve the consent agenda as presented.
second.
and then a second, any questions or discussions? All of that?
How many kids are doing the credit recovery at the high school? You know? I'm not sure.
That's the one, just on that, Jacqueline, is that next month, if we can just get a little presentation on that credit recovery, how that works.
Sure.
Okay, I'm just curious how that works. Again, from the outside looking in, when you look at it and say, well, in 5 days they get their credit back, I'm sure there's more to it than that, okay?
Well, and they can come, I will tell you, there's, different breakdowns. For example, that 55 to 59% is treated differently than even 54 to 50.
Okay.
And, I would have to ask them where their threshold is, if it's 40 or 45. And below, like, there's a number, and below that, they have to actually retake the course, so I can
Wouldn't
have
mind, I
them,
wouldn't
sure, share that.
have a little bit more information on that or
Sure.
some. And I read in there like Tiger Time that's like study hall time, I would assume, when they do that.
Similar, it depends on the kids, they have lunch in there. And they also, can go to teachers for help. Some are assigned, some have choice, it depends on how they're doing in class, so.
Yeah, I just like a little bit of detail on the credit recovery. Is the other thing before we voted, I thought was interesting, I don't know how it happens, you get one basketball game, January 5th. And you don't have any other events at the high school all month. That's pretty amazing. Asking their kids and parents and everybody to travel an awful lot in a month that's bad weather. Maybe it doesn't surprise anybody else, but to have one athletic event at home is pretty amazing for the whole month. So, just on that, so. All right, we got a motion, a second, all those approve consent agenda item? That's 7-0. Move on to reports, board member reports.
Yeah, I brought this up from the KSB meeting, actually a couple months ago, but I'm just gonna use my opportunity to repeat this. This is called the empty chair philosophy for Board of Education meetings. You'll notice an empty chair in the middle of the boardroom. I ask you to picture a student in our district, whether it be one in the classroom, on the stage, on the court, or the field that's represented by that empty chair. We are here for students and all decisions should be made, keeping students at the forefront of those decisions. As the best schools make decisions based on the needs and interests of their students, not the habits and traditions of the adults. I ask you to keep that student in your mind while making decisions to ensure the best interest of our students by providing a safe learning environment that is relevant and rigorous to prepare them for the post-secondary endeavors. That was one of the things that came out of the session on basically making it a good, positive school board. So I'll try to repeat that every month or every other month. One of the other things that came out of that session at KSB was to eat together to help increase the collaboration among the board. So I've got cookies. So there's a lot of great information on that KSB website. All of the sessions were at the conference, from the conference are there. So if you weren't able to attend, it'd be great to kind of read through those and I encourage you all to take a look at that.
August got hooked up. We were able to do a lot of the essential stuff online. It was really good. They have a bunch of online stuff on the website, but it's good stuff. So appreciate you getting us hooked up with that. Any other reports?
Wakefield got 6 new students since Christmas.
Beautiful.
High school kid, 4 middle school, and another first grader.
They're not the same age, they're the same family.
Uh, three different families. Yeah.
They all do our own.
No, one of them, his dad is a new Clay County Sheriff's deputy. Moved here from Texas.
Do we have a second military count?
Don't think we'll make it, but yes,
There is one, but we
there is one.
haven't made it. And we gotta have so many % of your kids.
You gotta have a percentage of your total.
We have 55 active military.
And isn't it like 11? I don't know, kind of 11% or something like that.
Gotta have about 13 to 14 kids, so whatever that is of our district. 1%, 2%.
But they have to move in.
They gotta
between
be-
September 20th.
Yeah,
and
between September 20th and
February,
February
whatever.
20th. But I thought that was good.
Anything else? Brett, superintendent?
Yeah, so I included a flyer that we're participating in kind of a statewide campaign to advocate for the state to fully fund special education and cover excess costs. And so this is some of our local data. I've talked to you guys a lot about it, but just as a reminder, it's about $700,000 a year that we do use to supplement that program that does come from our local tax base. And so if you're passionate about it and you want us to have an additional $700,000 spent on all children, advocate with your representatives. I included a final state aid rate. They were the same as when we budgeted in July, so not a big change. But just as a reminder, our LOB aid is on a 3-year average, and that will continue to go down over the next 3 years due to our increase in assessed valuation. So not a lot of control. We have 0 control on that actually as a school district, but something that we need to be planning for and that I've been talking about for a while now. As we go into February, we will start kind of budget planning for next year. And so we, it starts with our needs assessments with our different stakeholder groups. And then we engage with our admin teams and our district leadership team in March. And then that will go back to our building teams and then come back to us. And we have a formal process for any budget addition requests, whether they be personnel or non-personnel. And then once the board starts looking at negotiation stuff and how much money we have and where we're gonna head next year, we can put it all together in one package.
I did see where, I read today where the governor proposed was to get the special education funding up over 4 or 5 years was her.
And she proposed that last year
Last year,
to
okay.
legislators and they do it, so. And so that's, and then an agenda item down the road, you guys will have to look at March and what you want to do there. And if that's kind of the starting point to planning for a 5-year capital outlay plan, suggesting to do a facility tour that day. assuming you guys don't do it over spring break. So we can talk about that when we get there. Here in the next month or two, I will need you guys to have one or two Board of Education member representatives to negotiate on your behalf with the association. So if you're interested in that, let me know, or we can talk about it next month. And no rush. We're kind of in a waiting game here for a couple of months until they get done with the session in Topeka, until we know where the school finance formula is. And then finally, I just gave you a little update on where we are with the boundary exchange. It's headed to the state board now, and they'll approve that. I think he said the goal was to have them do that get it done by July 1st. And so I'll let you know when or if that happens. So that's all I got. The January 24th night, does it need to be a meeting? That's the stakeholder engagement night. That all the board members are invited. There's not doing any action.
But it's
gonna be discussion.
This kind of district business.
Yeah. I
more
think
than
that,
more of us show up though.
Yep.
Gonna have to have it as a special meeting.
call it a special meeting.
So we'll publish the special meeting and give notice and set the date. Thank you for that. That's all I have.
January 24th. Anybody else with questions? Brett?
So just want to clarify, just so you can keep repeating this. We expect our state money to decrease.
State aid.
And we expect based on, I'm gonna say farm revenue, we probably expect our local revenue to decrease. So we're gonna either have to cut our budget or increase local taxes.
And that will be, yes.
Yes, so that's what we're looking at for the summer. I just want to make it absolutely clear. And we'll repeat that every month.
Anybody else? Tell
Oh, a lot of changes, but some positive ones for 2024. All my Riley County positions upfilled last week. Actually, even, one more. We had 2 openings and I had 3 apps and thought I'm getting them all. So just hired them all. Yeah, put one in preschool, so Riley is very excited to finally be full. The private school, just to let you know, we serve 5 districts, but there are 2 private schools within that, Lynn Lutheran and then St. John's in Hanover. So once a year, we're required to meet with the administrator of those schools. We talk about that collaboration. They come to child check. We serve those students. We don't serve them at their school. They come to the public school, but we have the same child find obligation with the students there as we do in public school. So we have a letter that we give them to give to all the parents, just to let them know about our services, and they sign a paper, just verifying that we kind of have that collaboration meeting. So we'll do that at the end of the month. And then we did not make it to Topeka because of the weather on Friday, but we did listen to that task force meeting. They're gonna have another one. They really didn't. They had a lot of people, it was all sped funding, so they had a lot of people give testimony, and then there was, I think it was on here, Senator Baumgardner, I think was her name. She kind of like monopolized the rest of the time, gathered about other stuff that didn't have anything to do with that, but I think they decided finally, they're gonna meet again, they want to do some recommendations, but one of them they were talking about, they're really gonna look at money that's given to school districts that's weighted, and I don't know a whole lot about your side of funding, but the weighting students get for special ed, Representative Williams is really wanting to focus on counting that towards that 92% of excess cost. So, and so is Baumgartner, they're on the same page there. So I think there's gonna be more discussion about that. Saying that we're getting the 92%, this is where it's at, and we're not really counting that in the 92%.
That waiting is to support those students in general
Gen ed.
education, not for
They don't-
special
they don't see
education
that.
costs. It's smoke and mirrors. It's not fair.
They're
Okay,
just-
back to figures can lie and liars can figure type of thing.
They're just trying to say, we're given the 92%, probably more than 92%. You're just not counting it here and here and here. You're only counting categorical aid.
On the private schools that we do they reimburse us back for services? Like the other districts?
No. They're part of, so like Lynn Lutheran's home building would be Lynn Schools. That counts as their home.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Bernice? Very good. Jacqueline?
Right, on my report, I started out, gave a little bit of a teaser update, just kind of where we are. Would hope that Brett and I would have a chance to look at the building action plans sometime in February, March, so they can then start sharing them, and presenting them to you all. We have a pilot going on right now. I didn't get it in here because I had this put up last week, but a pilot going on at the secondary. We're gonna be starting to take a handful of kids that are still struggling to read and give them some intensive interventions. It's a little more challenging the older they get, but they can still continue to learn to read. So we'll be doing that. One thing that we're doing with stakeholders with a group is we identified the 16 clusters, the career clusters, and are asking people that work in those 16 clusters, what is one of the most important employability skills that you think our kids need? And number two, what are you seeing as the weakest? If you do employ young adults or adults just in general, or high schoolers. So we're getting that feedback and we'll have some of that to share with you guys as well. We'll start working on our summer learning, which is funded through ESSER. And this will be the last summer that that's funded through ESSER. So we'll have some dates and things to share with you at the next meeting. Professional learning, we have our new teachers. This Wednesday, we will be at Lincoln Elementary after school. And at the end of the month, our secondary teachers, we're going to we not only dissect their screening data, but kind of try to identify what reading needs our secondary kids have. So that'll help with our intervention programming. That's at the end of the month. And then we have at the end of the month some math walkthrough visits to help our teachers as well. So I put a little information in there about state assessments. Those are coming up this spring, just kind of gave the dates and what grades take what. We've been taking the interims, and so we've done 2 of those and we have 1 more left. The interims are kind of a practice test just to gauge how the kids are doing at that point during the year. And then a little technology update from Ben. We have, I think he had 3 or 4 more computers he had to go grab up there today, but pretty much the class-wise installed on all of our middle school laptops. It has been a challenge just because some of those testing programs that we, like we screen for reading or status that they don't like someone having control and can see them. That has been the hiccup, trying to work around all of that. But the teachers that are piloting it are really seeing an impact. And so I look forward to having some of them come and share as well. So I think they would give some good insight into how it's going and what they're seeing. I saw a screenshot the other day and the teacher could see every single, they were doing an assessment. She could pop up on her screen and see every single desktop and tell if the kids were where they were supposed to be or not. And so she can also walk around the room, but they can make pretty quick moves. So anyways, that's glad we're working with that. Any questions from anybody?
So you said the summer school is through ESSER. So when that is gone, does that mean if they're cut or find a way to fund it? Is that what that means?
Yeah, it previously before ESSER, our after school, our 21st century learning grants offered a 1 week program for all of our elementaries. And we had credit recovery, at middle school and high school, but much very limited compared to what we've been able to do. I mean, roughly, and Brett and Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, but summer learning for our elementary is roughly 190,000, 185. That's what it's been in the last 3 years that we've offered it through ESSER, so.
And prior to that. It's
1 week.
1 week and $20,000,
Yeah.
so you can see what ESSER money did.
And I also want to just point out, because of you who were here in the building, some of our staff participated in the one word, just to kind of re-engage in your, kickoff for 2024. We finished the year with a good bingo game. Some people,
we did not.
some people were upset they didn't get a bingo. But out in front of my office, to celebrate Kansas Day, I have some of Carol Slingsby's classroom items that were given to the district from Walt. So they're displayed out there. They're pretty cool. So take a peek. So
when we get to that, like, I suppose there's any other programs that, with that sort of.
Well, it's like our after-school program, was it the middle school in Wakefield grants expired?
Yeah.
And we funded it for 2 years.
skinny version.
Skinny version for 2 years, reapplied for the grant, got it for another 5 years, and they're probably up on year 3 or 4 by now.
They're on year 4.
Year 4, so there's another thing that, do you continue, do you fund it, do you, and I don't know what Garfield and Lincoln are on.
They're on year 3.
Year 3, they're 1 year behind, so another year, we're gonna think about that too, because that's a pretty good program. A lot of parents,
No question.
a lot of parents depend on that.
Yes, they do.
Well, and the point of the summer school program was to, and the reason we use ESSER funds for it was to help fix the gap that taking them out for that quarter caused.
Yeah.
And try to help get our kids caught up.
And I think all that's great ideas. I worry about having to cut some of that because of how beneficial that it is, So.
I don't know how many kids are attending, you know better, but like the Wakefield after school right now, and Garfield, Lincoln, all that.
Garfield and Lincoln, their average attendance is about 125 at the end.
A day.
And Wakefield bounces between 20 and 30 depending on the day.
So then you've got to think about what do you do for 200 kids when that runs out. So.
Good. You also have any questions? We'll move on. Let's see, your discussion, business item. Board meeting dates.
Got a set date for the next year.
I didn't read the dates, but I got the dates right.
And talk about March.
A board meeting on March 11th, which is during spring break. I don't know anybody else, but I won't be here. So if you don't want to move it, I understand. Last couple of years, we've moved it to the following Monday. Kind of is a little rough on our accounting because they're waiting an extra week to pay people, but and last year we did a facilities tour on that same day that we moved it to. And that's the breakdown there. The facility tour, if we would do that and move that meeting to the 18th.
Would it be easier to move that date to the 4th?
Probably doesn't give them enough time.
Right?
That probably doesn't give them enough.
Tracy, I can't see, but I know what
What
just happened. Back there.
Like say our orientation meetings,
Yeah.
all the information and stuff is is a lot, and so that's why so, I think we shouldn't move it off in the spring break and back it
The
up.
policy allows me to pay bills that can't wait that extra week.
Right.
So we usually end up adding an extra manual bill run to capture, which ones can't wait that extra week. So I mean, it's not a big deal, we have to pick back through it pretty hard outside of our normal handful benefits to me.
Take the board member pay for that month and get a few of them paid.
So March 11th, we move to the 18th.
If everybody's in agreement to that,
Yeah, I think
it's whatever.
everybody else.
I know that we're good last year doing the.
Do the facility tour.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And I think it's got there that we'd start at Lincoln and go to Garfield and go to the high school, end up in Wakefield and then come back here for a board meeting.
And we had sandwiches or something for you guys too when you came back.
Geez, Sam.
Cheese. Very appropriate.
It's not a
Thanks.
it's not reimbursable, let me tell you. I move we do the board dates as listed and move the March meeting to the 18th and do the facility tour on that day as presented.
Motion. Second, all those in favor? 7-0. Then we have, calendar considerations.
Yes, I have a report on there. We do not want approval tonight. I have information on the building process as well as the 3 documents that talk to the calendar, one being KSDE and policy at the state level, local board policy, as well as negotiations. So this is step 4 out of 6. The next one is to go back to the admin team again. And I did catch something, and so I printed a copy for you guys. It's stapled. You can see the October is circled. The way it was presented, I matched it up to I always go back and look at, as a starting point, when the January 1st, so January 1st falling on a Wednesday. I looked at the 2013 and the 2019-20. So the 19-20 calendar. And in 2013-2014, we didn't do parent teacher conferences like we did. But in the 19-20 year, we did, and so we had it in that late October. Well, as I was counting, and working with the principals on this, that really made our Q1 and Q2
I
lopsided.
was gonna say, how many days are in each quarter?
Well, okay, so the one with the later, it goes 46-39. And if the one underneath, the option 2, the one on the bottom, makes it 41-44. And we would rather have a few more days in Q2 because there are just some, I would say, holiday events that kind of take away some other things, like maybe it's the day we go up to the singing Christmas tree, or maybe the day we go sing at the nursing home, whatever it may be. And so it really made Q1 and 2 lopsided. We don't have very many secondary courses that are by the quarter. Most of them are by semester, but we do have, grading where we try to average that out between quarters. And so I'd like to ask the admin, for a little more input on that, just so we can maybe even up the Q1 and Q2. So as far as staff goes, I would show them both of these calendars tomorrow, via email, so they can see, that we're looking at both of those, but the rest of it,
So spring break
Should
is a
still
week
work.
later than normal.
And it lines up with K-State.
so, yeah, it lines up with the Board of Regents, so. Which the Board of Regents all line up with each other. It is the year, it's just a later calendar, even Keisha's a later start.
That's a leap year too.
So,
So it just moves this proposal just moves the start date back 1 day.
no, the start date
Moves
doesn't
October
change.
back a
All it
week.
does is change.
I mean, from August.
August
this year.
14th, August 14th.
Oh,
No, I meant
Oh, I got
this
you.
year
Yeah,
to
the-
next year, it would just move it back 1 day.
Yeah.
But that makes all the quarters closer.
Closer. Mhm.
What do we got on the second semester? Do you know?
I don't have that out right now.
Okay.
And it's been a couple of years, I threw out a calendar that actually ended where they were all equal, and we couldn't end at Christmas. Like when we went and left in December, we couldn't finish. So, they didn't like coming back.
Long Christmas break.
It's the year for a long Christmas break.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
What day is Good Friday this year? March something, isn't it?
Mhm. And it's,
28th or 29th?
Isn't it
yeah, it's
Thursday
an
the third?
earlier Easter this year,
Say,
so
yeah,
late,
then
and then it
it jumps
jumps.
3 weeks, yeah.
Mhm. Spring break's just later next year.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy. They have any questions?
Questions on it?
Jacqueline? Any good?
Bring it back to you guys next month.
Next meeting? And, we'll have the approving of the policy updates. Okay? And,
KSB's coming on February.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Training with you guys.
That's right. Yeah, February 1st at 6 o'clock. They will be here. And will that be considered a meeting since we're doing that? Okay. Very good. Yeah. Anybody have any comments about stuff on the next meeting? Over there. Future agenda items. Anybody would like to, on the future agenda items, is that something too that, like, they can email you and talk to you about?
Yeah, they could ask you and present it here and see if the rest of the board wants to talk about it.
Yeah. So, is there anything in specific anybody would like to talk about? Or the next agenda? Yeah, I believe. One thing anyway, at least future agenda items, and that would be, good discussion of, prior to our, the start of our meetings to do the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Make sure we put that on there. Anything else? Like to discuss that you know of right now? Very good. Very good. Then, no executive session?
I didn't have anything that you guys do.
I don't. You know. We have the approval of personnel.
I move we approve the personnel as listed.
Second.
And second, any discussion for that? All those in favor? Passes 7-0. Last, we adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Have enough.
You know.
We go.
The government.
High school days.
It's just.